Some cases don't stay in the public consciousness because they were the most violent or the most dramatic. They stay because they refuse to resolve cleanly, because every confirmed detail seems to stop just short of explaining what comes next. The disappearance of Maura Murray is one of those cases. Not because it is supernatural, not because it is sensational, but because the timeline itself refuses to fully connect. A life that proceeds normally, right up until the exact moment it doesn't. February 2004, Maura Murray was 21 years old. She was a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. By all known accounts, she was organized, academically focused, and structured in her routines. Friends and classmates described her as someone who maintained control over her environment. She worked part-time. She kept up with her studies. She was preparing for a future in nursing. Nothing in her known history suggested disappearance or instability. But in hindsight, investigators identified a series of small changes in the days leading up to February 9th. Individually, they don't stand out. Together, they begin to form a pattern. On February 5th, Maura was involved in a minor car accident in Amherst. She struck a guardrail. There were no serious injuries, but the incident required insurance documentation. On February 6th and 7th, classmates later described her as quieter than usual, less engaged in conversation, more withdrawn, though not visibly distressed. On February 8th, she sent an email to her professors claiming a death in the family and requesting time away for classes. That claim was later confirmed to be false. That same day, she searched for directions to Burlington, Vermont. She also researched lodging in Stowe, Vermont. Neither resulted in a confirmed reservation. On February 9th, she withdrew approximately $280 from an ATM, and surveillance confirms that she was alone. Later that day, she packed her belongings into her vehicle and left campus sometime between 7:20 and 7:30 p.m. No one witnessed her departure. That is the last confirmed sighting in Massachusetts. Maura was driving north into New Hampshire that evening. Her exact destination is unknown. She had searched for multiple locations in Vermont, but no confirmed plan exists. She traveled along Route 112, a rural highway that becomes increasingly isolated after sunset. In winter conditions, visibility decreases significantly, and road surfaces become inconsistent. Traffic is sparse, and in some stretches, completely absent. This environment matters because it limits both witnesses and evidence. At approximately 7:27 p.m., Maura Murray's vehicle left the roadway. It struck a snowbank and came to rest slightly angled away from traffic. A passing witness, Butch Atwood, a local school bus driver, stopped shortly after. His account is one of the most important in the investigation. He later stated that Maura was outside the vehicle when he arrived. She was conscious, standing, and did not appear to be seriously injured. He offered assistance and asked if she needed help or if he could call emergency services. She declined. She reportedly said, "I've already called for help." The detail is significant because no emergency call was ever confirmed from that location. Atwood then left briefly to contact authorities from a nearby residence. His decision created a narrow but critical window between Atwood leaving and returning. Approximately 7 to 10 minutes passed. During that time, Maura Murray was alone at the crash site. When Atwood returned, she was gone. Her vehicle remained, her belongings remained, but there was no visible trace of her departure. No confirmed footprints were preserved due to snow conditions. No witness reported seeing her leave during that interval. No vehicle was definitively linked to the scene. This short gap of less than 10 minutes is one of the most analyzed portions of the entire case, because everything that follows depends entirely on what happened during that time. And despite extensive investigation, no evidence has ever confirmed her direction of travel. State police arrived shortly after the crash was reported. Their initial findings included: the vehicle was locked, there were no signs of forced entry, her personal belongings were inside the vehicle, and there were alcohol containers present, but the interpretation varies. The airbags did not deploy, and this suggests the crash was not severe enough to incapacitate the driver, and search operations began immediately. But environmental conditions complicated tracking. Snowfall and darkness reduced visibility, and footprints were not reliably preserved. Over the following days, search efforts expanded. Canine units were deployed. Ground teams covered surrounding forested areas. Roadways were checked repeatedly, nearby structures were searched, and frozen terrain was examined. Despite these efforts, no trace of Maura Murray has been found. No clothing, no personal effects, no confirmed directional trail. Her cell phone produced a final signal near the crash site. After that, there was no activity, no communication, no movement data, nothing. Over time, investigators considered 3 primary explanations. First, a voluntary disappearance, supported by her preparation, cash withdrawal, and travel searches, but unsupported by any confirmed activity afterward. Second, accidental death in surrounding terrain. This is supported by environmental conditions and isolation, but no remains have ever been recovered despite extensive searches. Third, third-party involvement, supported only by the opportunity during the short time window, but lacking any confirmed suspect, vehicle, or physical evidence. None of these theories fully explain all confirmed facts without contradiction. The Maura Murray case remains open in public discussions because of its structure, not because of speculation, but because of discontinuity. There is a confirmed beginning, a clear sequence of events, and then a break in the timeline that has never been bridged. A point where observation stops, and after that point, nothing is ever confirmed again. Today, Route 112 remains a rural highway surrounded by forest, quiet under most conditions, unremarkable in appearance, but yet remains one of the most analyzed missing persons locations in the United States, because at one point a car left the road a witness left to get help, and when he returned, the person was no longer there. And no evidence has ever fully explained what happened in those few moments. Some stories don't ask to be remembered. They wait. If you're still here, it's already too late. This has been Diamonds After Dark. See you next time.